A day in the life of a market vendor in Ubon Ratchathani. 5,000 years of civilization, and what do I have to show for it? A 3-meter stall selling mangoes and a back that feels like it has been trampled by water buffalo. You want to know what real life is like in Thailand's markets? Not the sanitized version they show tourists with their fancy cameras? Well, pull up a plastic stool and listen carefully. This is this is not just about colourful fruits and haggling. It is about survival, community, and finding small joys in the chaos of commerce. Furthermore, trust me, after 40 years operating this store, I have seen things that would make your pristine supermarket seem like mausoleums. 4 a.m., the ungodly hour. The alarm shrieks like a possessed spirit, and I pry my eyes open in the dark. 4 in the bloody morning. Who decided this was a reasonable hour for human activity? Certainly not me, but the market waits for no one, especially not a grumpy old fruit vendor with creaking joints and half a century of Thailand's heat beaten into my skin. My wife is already up, of course. She always beats me to consciousness, moving through our modest home with the efficiency of someone who has performed these pre-dawn rituals for decades. The smell of strong coffee cuts through the morning air as I drag myself upright. One sip and the bitter warmth begins to thaw the frozen cogwheels of my brain. The mangoes look particularly good today, she says, already sorting through yesterday's delivery. The sticky rice is ready for wrapping. Our speciality is khao nai mang mung, mango with sticky rice. Simple, beloved, and thankfully profitable enough to keep a roof over our heads. I grunt in acknowledgement, knowing that in this partnership I am the voice and she is the culinary genius. Without her, I would be selling sad, bruised fruits that even the temple monkeys would reject. 5 a.m. Setting up shop. Warring Chamrak Market comes alive well before the sun dares to show itself. Trucks and motorbikes laden with produce rumble through the narrow lanes. The air is thick with possibility and fish sauce, an aromatic combination that tourists find overwhelming but feels like home to me. Sawadee krap, Somchai, I call to my neighbour, a fishmonger whose family has been across from mine for 3 generations. Your fish smells marginally less offensive today. Special occasion? He laughs, flicking droplets of ice water in my direction. Better than your mangoes, old man. At least my products do not pretend to be something they are not. This is how we have greeted each other for 20 years. In the market, insults are currency, affection, disguised as aggression. We are competitors, yet family. I arrange my stall with practiced hands. The golden yellow Nam Dong Mai mangoes front and centre, the plump Nam Dong Mai Sai Thong slightly to the left. Each has its devoted followers. Behind them, containers of coconut-infused sticky rice await pairing. The display must tempt but not overwhelm. Too much choice paralyzes customers. Too little suggests inferior quality. The first rays of sunlight begin to filter through the market's patchwork canopies of tarps and corrugated metal. Another day begins. 7 a.m. Morning rush. These mangoes, are they sweet? Asks a middle-aged woman, squeezing one with suspicious fingers. I resist the urge to slap her hand away. Why do people insist on manhandling fruit? You would not squeeze a baby to check if it is healthy, would you? Madam, these mangoes are so sweet they would make a monk break his vow of silence, I reply, using my best market patter voice. Grown in soil blessed by 3 generations of my family. Try one slice and I guarantee you will buy 3. This is not entirely an exaggeration, and mangoes come from my cousin's orchards near the Mekong. The soil there produces fruit with flesh so tender it practically dissolves on the tongue. She buys 2 mangoes and a portion of sticky rice, walking away with the self-satisfied air of someone who believes they have just negotiated the deal of the century. I did not have the heart to tell her I would have gone lower. The morning crowd ebbs and flows, office workers grabbing breakfast, housewives selecting the day's ingredients, the occasional foreigner looking simultaneously fascinated and overwhelmed by the sensory assault of a real Thai market. 10 a.m., mid-morning lull. The rush subsides temporarily. I sip water and fan myself, watching the market's rhythm shift. Across the way, Somchai fillets fish with the precision of a surgeon, his knife flashing silver in the now harsh sunlight. 2 stalls down, old Prani argues with a supplier about the price of lemongrass. The youngster who sells mobile phone cases scrolls mindlessly on his own device, waiting for customers. A group of monks in saffron robes moves through the market, accepting food offerings for their daily meal. I place a small package of mango and sticky rice into the young novice's bowl. Merit making is good for business, good for the soul. My grandmother taught me that before I could walk. Business goods? Asked Marley, who sells flowers and incense for temple offerings. Her hands never stop moving, weaving jasmine garlands, even as she speaks. Can't complain or lie. We all lie about business. To admit struggle is to invite bad luck. Could be better if the government actually cared about small vendors instead of those big supermarkets. She nods sympathetically. Politics and weather, the 2 safe topics for market conversation. Everyone has an opinion, but no one has a solution. 1 p.m. Midday heat. The sun sits high above us now, turning the market into a slow cooking oven. Sweat trickles down my spine. The corrugated metal roof above my stall radiates heat like a malicious being. This is the true test of a market vendor, enduring Thailand's merciless midday sun with nothing but a small electric fan and occasional sips of ice water. A group of tourists wander by, led by a guide with a colourful umbrella. They point, they photograph, they exclaim over the authenticity of it all. One approaches my stall. How much? He asks, pointing at a mango. 100 baht with sticky rice, I reply, adding a 50% tourist markup. It's not personal, as it is economic equilibrium. He pays without haggling, a cardinal sin in market culture, and I feel a twinge of guilt as I hand over his purchase. The mango is perfect, though. He will remember it long after he has forgotten the inflated price. 4 p.m. Afternoon revival. The market awakens from its heat-induced stupor as schools let out and office workers begin thinking about dinner. Young mothers drag reluctant children through the narrow aisles. Teenagers cluster around food stalls, giggling and flirting with the careful calculation of youth. Uncle, same as yesterday, calls Noy, a teacher from the local school who stops by almost daily. Regular customers are the backbone of our business. Fresh batch today, I tell her, already packaging her usual order. How are those little monsters you teach? Driving me to an early grave, she laughs. One boy put a frog in my desk drawer today. In my day we used snakes, I reply with mock seriousness. Youth today have no ambition. These little interactions, these moments of connection, are what separate market life from the sterile transactions of modern commerce. We sell food, yes, but we also sell belonging, community, continuity. 7 p.m. Evening bargains. As daylight fades, the market's dynamic shifts again. Now begins the great game of evening haggling. No vendor wants to take produce home. Better to sell at a discount than waste perishable goods. Final price, I announce to no one in particular. 50 baht for a mango with sticky rice. Tomorrow's price is tomorrow's problem. A young couple approaches, eyeing my remaining stock. 40 for 2 portions, the man suggests, trying to sound confident in his negotiation. I clutch my heart dramatically. You wound me, young man, trying to bankrupt an old vendor. 45 and I'll throw in extra coconut cream. We settle at 45. He thinks he has won. I know I have. Those mangoes would not have lasted another day. 9 p.m. closing time. The market empties gradually like a tide receding. Vendors pack up, chatting about the day's sales, sharing gossip, complaining about competition from the new shopping mall on the outskirts of town. My back aches as I stack empty containers and count the day's earnings. Not spectacular, but enough. There is a certain satisfaction in this, the tangible result of a day's labour, counted in colourful Thai baht. My wife appears, having finished at her own vegetable stall. Good day, she asks, though she can tell from my expression. Good enough, I reply, offering her a slightly bruised mango I saved from the display. After 40 years of marriage, we share fruit the way other couples might share expensive gifts. As we walk home through the now quiet streets of Warren Chamrat, the night air cooling around us, I feel the familiar mixture of exhaustion and contentment. Tomorrow will bring another 4 a.m. alarm, another day of haggling and humour, struggles and small triumphs. This is not a glamorous life. However, it is ours, built one mango at a time, sustained by relationships forged in the crucible of commerce. Moreover, despite my complaints, which I will continue to voice loudly to anyone who will listen, I would not trade it for all the air-conditioned comfort in Bangkok. If you have enjoyed this glimpse into a real Thailand, beyond the beaches and temples, why not experience it yourself? Next time you visit, skip the hotel breakfast and venture into a local market. Ask questions. Haggle, but not too aggressively. Taste everything. Besides, remember, behind every stall is a story as rich and complex as the flavours we sell. Subscribe for more unvarnished tales from the land of smiles, and leave a comment telling me about your own market adventures, the good, the bad, and the deliciously authentic. Take care and goodbye.